Okay, after a very long wait, we have what you want, which is the Book of Boba Fett. We'll talk about it in a moment. Hello out there, I'm the Oldest Nerd, coming to you from Farpoint Studio. We are here with Episode 1, which is called Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange Land, to bring us up to date on what happened to Boba Fett. We start with the aftermath of the attack on Tatooine of Jabba the Hutt's barge, in which you can still see the barge on the crash site. So it hasn't been very long since they have been crashed there. And Boba Fett is inside the belly of this beast that they fed him to. Not actually feed him to. They were going to send in Han Solo, but he managed to be rescued, of course, in Return of the Jedi. And in the course of the fight, Boba Fett has knocked into the monster and is left to be digested over a millennia. Now, what we find at the beginning of this episode, or near the beginning of it, is that he is in the belly of the beast, and it's time to try to find some way to shoot himself out. And that he does, digs himself out as well, and is able to, with the last bit of his energy, get out on the surface and just lay out. At that time, he is looted by the Jawas and left basically in his long johns, no defenses, so that when the Tusken Raiders come along and abduct him, he has no defense and has to go along with them. Now, that's all we see for a while. How does he get away from them? How does he bring us to the present day? Because we find out very soon that that's in a flashback. In the present day, he's living in a very nice dwelling, and we find that he is now a crime boss on Tatooine, basically taking over the place of Jabba the Hutt from our last encounter in that part of Tatooine, which is near Mos Espa. And so he apparently is fairly new at this job, but we haven't been told how he got there. And that's because they're telling this story in a disjointed manner, not all in a single timeline, and in fact making it more interesting by showing what he's doing now, what he's dealing with now, and how his past has gotten him there. So we're filled in by what happened between the barge incident and his current status a little bit at a time. And it's quite interesting. It's easy to follow. It does not get boring. There are good fight scenes in there because he's trying to establish himself in his new position in the present day. And we cut back to how he got there in some of the flashbacks. We don't have the whole story yet, but so far looking very good. Without getting into too much detail on that, just let you know that we have seen Jawas and Sand People and the same jazz band in the cantina, which last time we saw them, they were on Mos Eisley. Now they're Mos Espa. They must travel around quite a bit. At any rate, playing different music at least. So anyway, we have all of this set up, and we see a lot of good fight scenes. He's got a new assistant, and we see, let's see, the pig guards, and we see some of the various alien species that you see on Tatooine. It works out pretty well. Now, this was all directed by Jon Favreau, who was the person who directed The Mandalorian. And I would say in this situation, it is it has the same feel that The Mandalorian does, but they don't make it just a copycat of this. What we have this time, instead of The Man with No Name, spaghetti western kind of thing, we're seeing more of a Lost in the Desert kind of thing, not a Lawrence of Arabia, but there were a lot of desert movies that were made in the old days, and I think this goes kind of to that idea, because what he's doing is he's an outsider that's establishing himself, whereas the Mandalorian was kind of a loner who went from town to town. So it's a different kind of presentation, but still highly entertaining. The cinematography is great. The special effects don't distract you too much from the plot that's going on. and there's not a whole lot of shootouts, but a lot of hand-to-hand fighting, and that works out for our character here to kind of establish that he's a tough guy, that he can fend for his own no matter what he has in his arsenal. So that's what we have in Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange Land of the Book of Boba Fett. I think that it's well acted, it's well directed, it's well photographed, and like I said, the special effects are subtle enough to add to the story without drawing too much attention to themselves. Once again, just a very solid piece of cinematography and filmmaking. So I recommend it to you. Episode 1 dropped just Wednesday on Disney Plus, and no doubt we will see new episodes every Wednesday. So if you are interested in following this, we're going to follow it. Why not follow us by going to the subscribe button, or you can click on the ON logo that's on the bottom of the screen. By the way, do you like our new music? This was a Christmas gift from my son, so we're going to be playing that on these videos now, and hope that you enjoy it. And so until next time, don't go far.